Good evening, my fellow Americans. It is, of course, Monday, January 17th, 2022. I'd like to first of all to wish you all a happy New Year 2022. May our Heavenly Father be with you every step of the way. Tonight, I'd like to take this time to thank each and every one of you who have taken the time the last few days to send me your sincere condolences. As you know, we had a death in the family. It has not been easy, but thank God we hanging in there, and because we serve a mighty God, the one who never fails. It's such a somber moment, but nevertheless, we have a job to do. We will remain vigilant, we will remain strong, because this is a call. Well, tonight, it's a special night. I'd like to say good evening to you all, those of you who have not been with the show. This is our first show of the year. I'd like to take this time to wish you my warm wishes with so much at stake, so much to do, with so little time. I'd like for you to call a friend, let them know the Robert Duverny Show is live. You know, if it's Monday, if it's 8 p.m., it's the Robert Duverny Show. All right. So tonight, on a different note, I'd like to take a moment of silence for my lovely niece. I've just lost again, lost an aunt back in December 28, and I lost a niece this past Friday. Allison Nicole Alexander. She has been a sweetheart, a gymnast, always trying to impress me by flipping. I always wanted me to compete with me in flipping. I said, I'm too old for this, I can't do this. And she's no longer with us, but the good Lord has called her home. It was a shock to the family, and we are hanging in there. We ask for your prayer, and of course, we believe in the Almighty that we will pull through. And keep the family in prayer as we go on and to deal with this unforeseen situation. You don't expect a 6-year-old to leave you that early, but nevertheless, it's God's will. And certain things we cannot explain them, and we try to make sense out of them, yet we can't. But we believe in the Almighty, who will give us strength and endurance to see this through. We thank you. We give regards to the Jen Lewis family, Rosalind, I love the cousin, of course, Mr. Iverson Alexander, and the entire Jen Lewis family, the entire Alexander family. We extend our deepest sympathy as we share this loss. It's a common loss. We're with you and we love you. Thank you. Well, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the topic that I will be discussing with you is, of course, Dr. Martin Luther King. Dr. Martin Luther King, as you all know, we're celebrating his birthday today. Dr. King's birthday is celebrated every third Monday of the month of January. Tonight, we celebrated a man who gave it all, a man who gave everything he had for the advancement of mankind in reality. When Dr. King stood on the podium, wherever he may be, he did not just see African American, but he saw the whole world, because we are our brother's keepers. But Dr. King left us some time ago, on April 4th, 1968. Dr. King was a civil right who did not see color, who only saw opportunity for all Americans from all walks of life. This is who we celebrate today. I pray that you take a moment, although the Robert Duverny Show comes on to you at 8 o'clock this evening. I'm sure it's still time, because I'm only going to be here with you for half hour. there's only 22 minutes left. We have a time to sit down with your youngsters. Tell them about Dr. King, the work that he had done, the effort. He did not see self, but he saw Americans. This is the man we're honoring today. A man who gave it all. A man who did not see just his family. He knew his days were numbered. Martin Luther King, I always view him as a man of Christ. He's a man who foretold his death. Yet, he gave it all. He knew his days were coming. Yet, he was doing God's will. And these are men that we honor today. Today, the U.S. Congress intended to pass somewhat legislation to talk about voting rights on the day of Dr. King. It did not happen. It did not happen for a number of reasons. There are those who believe that it's not necessary, it's not needed. There are those who think that we get it all. What more do we need? We had an African American president of the United States once. We had African American as governors, as state legislatures, as senators. And what else do we need to give these people? But yet, they forget one thing, that when you chip away democracy, you're doing a disservice to your great nation. The only way we can make America great is when all Americans have equal rights, equal opportunity, all across the board, regardless of your race, your background, your religion, whom you love. We all in it together. This is exactly what Dr. King stood for. Yet the Senate does not even have the gut to even hear argument on voting rights, expand voting rights. So what does that tell me? That tells me there are those in Congress who do not have, in the word of the Cuban, cojones. They lack of it. They don't have it. The word senator, which comes from the Latin word seniore, which is elder, statement. Those with wisdom, with knowledge. I have not seen this displayed in U.S. Congress in the past 20 years. Maybe I'm with Brent Rankle. Maybe I've been sleeping for the past 20 years, but I haven't seen it. We're living in a society where only sound bites, that's what makes the argument. That's what drive the political arena. It is a shame that we can't even bring that up to Congress. We can't even bring that up to the floor. Why not having a good argument for the sake of the American people? Let it be televised. Those in Congress tonight, my fellow Americans, they don't have the guts. And if we cannot have a legitimate argument on the issues that affect American, we are doing a disservice to the people who elected us. I said it earlier that the senators supposedly are elders, those with wisdom, those with knowledge, the know-how. I feel like they are little children who do not have the appetite to even hear a good argument. It's like they're saying, well, let's not even debate this. No, I'm not. It's like they're telling me, I'd rather stay home. I don't want to hear anything. I want to stay home. Well, they have to show up. The only reason why these guys are showing up to the Hall of Congress just to give a lip service. That's all. just the press corps can stop them in the hallway and give their own opinion, which may have nothing to do with the current state of the union. I'll try not to delve into it too much, but then again, it was the Democratic Party agenda to advance voting rights on the anniversary of Dr. King. Yet they failed. They failed miserably. Yes, they fell and they fell again. Dr. King would have been 93 years old today. Yeah, he would have been 93. Well, actually, his birthday was last Saturday, January 15th. But since we celebrate every third Monday of the month of January, that's the reason why we take this day. And I pray that those of you who celebrated Dr. King, it's a good time to look at his speeches. What he stood for, what he fought for. That's the only way we can honor Dr. King. Though I was born well after he died, but this is a man who influenced me a great deal. I've read his lecture, his books, his philosophy, his approach to nonviolence, just like Gandhi. Every time I think of Dr. King, I think of Christ. Yes, I think of Christ. A man who's willing to die for a nation. That, to me, is the greatest thing ever. In the book, Jesus, I'm not going to preach tonight, but Jesus said the word, there's no greater love for a man to lay down his own life for his friend. That's exactly what Dr. King, that's the greatest love. Just so you and I can have an opportunity. Yet, the work is not completed, but he started, and he's done a great deal. He's done a great deal. Well, tonight, I would love to delve into one of my favorite speech of Dr. King. Is a mountaintop. The mountaintop was the last speech that Dr. King gave on the eve of his death. Dr. King was in Memphis, Tennessee, and he was on a strike for the sanitation worker, and he had to give a speech to the audience who was in attendance. He did not shine away from his core belief. He stood for what he believed. And this is the man that we honor tonight. Dr. King talked about the panoramic view of the world, where he would be, where would he would love to be. If he were to visit, I'm just paraphrasing because Dr. King family that give me the right to read the speech online, but I'm just paraphrasing what he said, not verbatim, because Dr. King spoke about a panoramic view, which is if he were to leave in time. I mean, the guy was so clever. I mean, I can listen to Dr. King day and night and never get bored. If he had a chance to stop in Egypt to see the Great Pyramids, and he would have stopped down to see the great things that they have accomplished, what others have done, he wouldn't stop down. But where Dr. King was going with this, really, he wanted to share with us that life is precious and make the best of what we have. That's all right. Make the best of what we have. So now we tend to wanted to live a long life. Of course, this is all what we want for. When I think of my niece Allison, who just died at 6, she didn't have a chance to live a life. What could Allison be? And I tend to reflect about my own life. What have I done? in my time? Have I used my time for a good cause while I'm here on earth? That's a question we all should be asking ourselves. Are we making the best of our time? Dr. King only lived to be 39 years old, shy of his 40th birthday. Yeah, didn't even reach 40. Just imagine what Dr. King had accomplished in a time that was so difficult, my people. Dr. King had already earned a PhD. Dr. King had already won a Nobel Peace Prize. Dr. King had advanced a cause that the whole world will be benefited from, under 40 years old. I passed 40 a while back. So these are the questions that we must ask ourselves. What are we doing as a people? Not as we're doing as an individual, but as a people. Because Dr. King did not see self. He did not see self. He has risen above self. So tonight, I encourage you to take a page from Dr. King. Take a page from Dr. King because there is so much that can be done. And Dr. King wanted to, like I said, a long life. Wanted to live a long life, but that was not the case. But he had laid a foundation. It's like you're building a house. But the most important in building a house, it's not the wall, it's not the roof, but it's the foundation. And he had laid a foundation just so you and I can reap from the fruits and make it better and take off from there. So every time we come around Dr. King's anniversary, these are the things we most of you may have had the day off. What did you do? Just this past week, I was watching the news. I was glancing at the news because I try not to watch the local news because it's so frightening. You may not even want to walk outside the door, man. But nevertheless, the borough sheriff, along with the Miami-Dade Police Department, and have made out and offered the FHP, the Florida Highway Patrol, they have made it known to those bike riders that they would not tolerate the nonsense this week, riding motorcycle on the street, making loops and blocking traffic, and some of them got killed too. But then again, to me, I applaud the law enforcement for doing that, because Dr. King would not want to be remembered on motorcycle riders. I mean, what's the point? I urge my fellow Americans to, those of you riders, I mean, it will be a good occasion to take some voter registration, go to the library, and invite others to partake in the democratic system that we have. Or even do some charity work. Trying to get some donation from the drivers on the street. I mean, people are going to look at you, you're riding a motorcycle. I mean, do it for a good cause. Because you're seeking attention, so let's make it worthwhile. That's my message to you tonight. Dr. King was bigger than that. And the work that Dr. King had done, the best way we can honor him, the best way we can promote his legacy is to ride. Is to ride on what he has already accomplished. Take off with it. That's what we can do, not lay back. No, we can do better. Again, toward the Dr. King long speech, the mountaintop, Dr. King has been to jail He's been stabbed in 1957 while he was given. Hey, how you doing, guys? How you doing? Thank you for logging in. Those of you who are coming in right now, thank you. Yeah, Dr. King. Thank you, Mark. Good to see you, nephew. It's interesting to see that Dr. King did not seek the approval of anybody, because he knew he was doing what he was doing was God's work, and it was right. In the word of John Lewis, that was good trouble. John Lewis always emphasized on good trouble. He's been to jail. He's been beaten. He's been spit on, but yet Dr. King never gave up. This is the man that we are tonight. So Dr. King, toward the end of the speech of the mountain, he said, I've been to the mountaintop and I've seen the promised land, but I may not get there with you. Who is he talking to? Who is he referring to? We, the people. I may not get there with you, because he knew his day were coming. Yeah, I believe that Dr. King knew his day were numbered. At that time, there were hours. You could see his eyes lit up. Once after the show is over, I want you to go on YouTube and then watch the Martin Luther King mountaintop speech. He transformed at this very moment. He said, my eyes have seen the coming of the Lord. That was his last word. So, in the words of Dr. King, who always wanted to live a long life, yet his life was cut short at 39 years old. I think that's a unique opportunity for you and I to go into our archives and see what have we done. Have I promoted someone? Have I encouraged someone else to aspire to greatness? That's the best way we can honor someone. I was at a funeral this weekend, this month of January. It's about funeral. And I had to give a speech, and as I was sitting there and waiting, and it gave me a unique sense of life and how short life is. And that's why it's important that what we make of today matters, because it could have a ripple effect for future generations, for generations to come. So whatever we do, do it well, just as Dr. King did it well. It's not about you. It's about us as a people. When we know we are our brother's keeper, we look out for one another. We do our very best in spite of the difficulties. We can transcend racism. We can transcend bitterness. That's what Dr. King did. That's what he did. Well, tonight, my fellow Americans, as we come to the end of our show, I pray that you take a page from Dr. King's book and make the best of it. I encourage you to read some of his excerpt. If you have, I encourage, not if you have time, but you have to make time for it. And it's important that we share this with our youngsters, our young people, our children. The only one who can tell your story better, it's you. Don't let somebody else tell your story. You know they'll never tell it the way it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying. You tell your story because you lived it on a regular basis. Tell your story like it's never been told before. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's only 28 minutes left. I know it has been a somber night, and we understand. I would not leave the show tonight without giving out some shout out to those of you who are celebrating your birthday today. I'd like to give a big shout out to Lara Azor, LA, from the great state of Georgia, who's celebrating her birthday today. Lara, the Robert Duverny Show and the staff would like to wish you a happy birthday as you celebrate your birthday today. All right, may God bless you. You stay beautiful, and you have some fans here in the great state of Florida. Thank you so much. I'd like to give out a big shout out to Dina Duje. Dina Duje also celebrating her birthday today, the 17th. Happy birthday, Dina. Remember Princess, and stay beautiful. God bless you. Again, my fellow Americans, the time has come. We've come to the end of our show. It has been somewhat of a somber night, but again, we honor Dr. King. We wanted to dedicate this show strictly to Dr. King, his work, particularly the last speech. That's what I focused on tonight, and I wanted to share this with you. But at the end of the day, you need to do some research yourself and delve into his speeches, delve into his books, his accomplishment, what he meant to America. And for America to celebrate Dr. King today, it's a big thing. And Congress passed that back in 1980s, in the 80s, and to celebrate Dr. King every third Monday of the year. So they didn't do it, that didn't come out with a fight. But a man of this magnitude, a man who sacrificed it all to bring America together, that man ought to be celebrated. Until next time, my fellow Americans, I'd like to wish you all a happy New Year once more. Those of you who didn't get a chance to wish you a Happy New Year at the very beginning of the show, we pray for a prosperous year and stay in prayer, and we're praying for the very best. Thank you, all of you who logged in this evening. Wishing you all a good night. Until we meet again next Monday for a show like, if it's Monday, if it's 8 p.m., it's the Robert Duverny Show. Until next time, my fellow Americans, have a good night.